Welcome to Earth, a Love Story. I'm your host, Robin Lassiter. This is a solo episode, and I want to talk about things I've been thinking about as the apocalypse continues to unfold. If you're new here, maybe from my recent conversation with Kelly Chase, welcome. In case you didn't know, you can listen to me read my entire book, also titled Earth, a Love Story, in the first 15 episodes of this podcast for free. You can also join my Patreon at the Earth Lovers tier, where we gather twice a month to have deep conversations and sometimes surprise special guests. And you can join by visiting patreon.com/Robin Lassiter. And we talk about the body, the honeycomb matrix, our experiences, and grief and death, and how to navigate it all. Also, check out the link in the show notes for information about an upcoming, new, very fancy, very exciting offering called Projector Prosperity, with guest teachers Adrian Meddy and Diederik Reikens. Adrian and Diederik are experts in the human design system, among many other things, and I've invited them to co-teach a 2-hour workshop specifically for projectors. And if, by the way, you have no idea what human design is or what a projector is, just Google free human design chart, enter your birth date, time, and location, just like you do for your astrology, and find out what your type is. Learning that I was a projector was one of the most important turning points in my life. And I've been deconditioning and reconditioning, thank you, Adrian, for that reframe about the reconditioning, for a few years now, living into the experiment of my type and strategy. And I have to say, I am experiencing so much success, so much projector success, which feels like ease, all while working less and resting more. And the projectors that I know usually burn out by 40 if they haven't yet figured out how to protect their energy, follow their strategy, and learn what it means to wait for the invitation. And also, I know that personally. I was so burned out, and I didn't know why. On March 27th, Adrian, Diederik, and I will provide information on the basics of being a projector, the 5 different kinds of authority a projector can have, information about how we digest food and data that comes to us, and how our environment can support the body. And we'll explore realistic ways to work in the world, to align your career as a projector, to have success in family and relationships, and how to be truly recognized for your gifts. We want to give you permission to embrace your design, to rest more. Yes, I said it again, it's so important, and come into deep alignment with your passion and purpose as a projector. And this event is for both projectors themselves and for those who love them. Do you have a projector in your life and you want to know how to support and love them? This is also for you. So again, link in the bio to sign up to be on the waiting list and be notified first when the registration opens. And finally, I'm getting all of this out now because after I release this podcast episode, I'm going offline for a while. I'll be back in mid-March with great episodes coming up from experiencers talking about the masculine and the feminine, talking about phenomenal experiences that, when I heard them, gave me so much validation and clarity. It's like, okay, I'm on track here. We're all doing this together, and I can't wait to share all of that with you. But first, I need to get off socials for a bit, clear my head, walk my talk, and all of that good stuff. So, yeah, this will be the last that you heard from me for a few weeks. Okay, housekeeping complete. Let's get into this episode about the elephant in the room. And I don't have to say what it is, do I? I mean, we all feel it. It's pretty impossible to ignore at this point, and it's coming from all sides. UFOs and disclosure, AI, government structures and systems collapsing, plane crashes. And, oh yeah, remember when LA burned down? Jesus fucking Christ, all of it happening so fast that we barely have time to catch our collective breath, and no time really to process before the next things arise. January 2025 was the longest month in human history, and it's February 21st, so what the fuck happened to February? So many elephants in the room, we start to wonder if we'll survive. And honestly, this has been going on for a long time. You know the analogy about the frog in the water, right? Where if you throw a frog in boiling water, and I know it's terrible, who would do such a thing, but the frog will jump right out. But put a frog in tepid water and increase the temp 1 degree at a time, and the frog will be cooked before it realizes the danger. Do you think this is a true story? I hope not. We're cooked, folks. We're cooked. And it's 2025, and 2025 is the weirdest timeline with the most potential. We're cooked, and it's going to be okay. we are cooked and we were never going to make it out alive anyway. God, I love it when I start an episode with elephants and 5 minutes in, I've mixed so many metaphors that I've lost the thread. But either way, you guys get it. Elephants, frogs, cooked, it's all happening. We all get it. And there's a freedom in dying before you die. There is freedom in nothing left to lose. There's no reason now not to try. Have you noticed that humanity has a massive self-esteem problem, that we have internalized the lie that we are a cancer on the earth and everything and everyone would be better off if we all just die? Facing the Armageddon without and within, and quoting again from that great Marion Woodman article, following her lead and thread where she talks about the Death Mother. Not the Dark Mother, not the regenerative, recycling, transmuting, composting, enlivening Dark Mother. The Death Mother who can kill you with a glance. The Death Mother archetype who wants to kill life. Marion says, change is fundamental to being alive. To remain fixed is to rot. If the Death Mother archetype is a part of our body psyche, the profound fear means that we try to destroy anything that might precipitate meaningful change. We will do anything to ensure that our life feels safe and secure, even if it is static, rotten, dead. Our way of relating to the world is written in stone. Death Mother traps potentially vibrant energy and holds it in a cold, rigid, lifeless form. We are imprisoned by an energy that petrifies and ossifies. Death Mother, my words now. She's the result of thousands of years of being cut off from nature and the cycles and seasons. She tells us not to try. She tells us to go gently into that good night, and we become arbiters of her anti-life impulse, and we've turned it onto ourselves. It's amazing to me how hard it is for us to love ourselves. It's amazing to me how hard it's been for me to love myself, all of my parts. And I keep finding these edges and dark corners that I don't fully love. And it's so amazing to me how over and over again, successful people and anxious people and happy people and lost and confused people and people who are numb, it's the hardest thing to turn the light of unconditional love to the self. It's the hardest thing to believe that we're actually worthy of love and life, and maybe on the surface, okay, but what about that part? What about that thing you did? Are you worthy then? Spoiler, yes, but going on the journey to believe it for ourselves, wow, that takes enormous heart. What if gravity was another word for love? What if the force that holds us to the earth, to our mother, to the great creatrix herself, this invisible force called gravity, is love by another name? What if she holds us to her breast and she is underneath us every step, so much so that we take her for granted completely? And what if she's waking us up right now, sacrificing her own body? Grief is the portal of the apocalypse, and what if we were never a mistake? What if there was never anything wrong with us? What if we were actually beloved and, like her, infinitely rich and abundant and creative? Well, I think that's true. But I know the journey back to receiving love is a long one, a tender one. And there are false paths and swirling eddies to get stuck in. Because we've internalized the Death Mother archetype, we've come to believe so fully that there's something intrinsically wrong with us that we do things to make it true. Subtly in the subconscious, she sneaks around, turning parts of us to stone, shutting down the feeling body until we're all stiff, tired, checked out, numb. All of it to get away from that feeling of shame that arises when you make a mistake. And I make them all the time, by the way, so if you've pedestalized me, get ready, I promise. I will disappoint you. But that's okay. You might disappoint me too, and then rupture, and then repair, and I promise if we lean into the cringe, we can make it through together. Anyway, that feeling of shame, and we can't bear to feel the grief of it. There is such deep collective ancestral shame for what we've done to the land and to each other and ourselves. And what we all need is a deep guttural cry and supplication at her feet. And of course, she immediately scoops us up, and there was never anything wrong with us, can't you see? Then we can start again. Then we can start to create. Grief is the portal of the apocalypse, and warm, attuned, unconditional love holds us on the way through. Also for the men, I've been reading Robert Bly, The Counterpoint to Marion Woodman, because I've been so long with the feminine that suddenly I was like, oh, men. I wonder what their inner initiation is like. And I've learned so much from Robert Bly's book, Iron John. And in it, he said something like, when a woman hears that there is only a male God, she feels like there's nowhere for her to ascend. And when a man hears that the earth is only feminine, he feels like he can't breathe. So let's bring back the both and, with the feminine centered for now to restore the balance. But I want to bring in Mother Earth, Father Sky, Father Earth, Mother Sky, and everything in between. All hail Heros Gamos, and I wonder what would happen then. And I hope you know by now that the words masculine and feminine and women and men are all just aspects of each other, and we're all made up of both and more. I mean, you know the world card in the tarot, right? And that the figure in the center is a being both male and female, and what an interesting clue at the culmination of the archetypal procession of the major arcana. Where we were two, we become one. The both gendered being at the center of the card symbolizes wholeness and the potential for union with the universe's one power, having transcended boundaries and come together as one. Our existence in this realm is within the tension of the opposites, but if, as Marie-Louise von Franz says, if we stay with the tension of opposites long enough, sustain it, be true to it, we can sometimes become vessels within which the divine opposites come together and give birth to a new reality. I mean, if that's not my jam, I don't know what is. Okay, here's what I'm seeing and tracking and some framework that I want to offer. And I've said it before and I'll say it again, don't take my word for it. If it doesn't resonate, find a framework or a worldview that does, because part of what I think is happening on the planet right now with its 8 billion plus realities is that we're being asked to become the grown-ups in the room. The systems and the powers that be are not our parents. We can't look to them. We have to figure out where we stand, what's important to us, and what we want to create. No one is coming, my friends. It's us. It's time to grow up so that we can someday become the elders that we so desperately need. Bring back wise old women and men in a circle of 10. Bring back rites of passage. Bring back the weird, wild woman at the edge of the village throwing bones and spitting prophecy. That's me. I want that job. And all of this is good news, bad news kind of deal, right? Bad news is, oh no, no one's coming. Good news is, oh good, we get to make up something. I think there's a reason why somatics has arrived on the scene in the last 20 years or so and is now becoming mainstream. Call it somatics, the body without the mind, or call it the goddess rising up through the soles of our feet, awakening our emotional and feeling bodies. Either way, the emotional and physical bodies are coming online so that we can learn to feel our feelings. Not in a big, messy screaming and yelling and losing our shit free-for-all, but so that we can build capacity to have big feelings and not collapse. Or collapse when needed. Like sometimes we have to collapse, but learn how to get resourced and hold the tension of the opposites. To hold the frequency of the new thing that we want to create while at the same time watching the old thing dissolve. We need capacity to not agree with someone and have them not agree with us and not go to war. Because spoiler, we are not homogenizing. It's not going to be getting everyone to agree on everything that will get us to the next iteration of humanity. It's going to be individuating into our most unique, authentic, and weird selves. And then coming together to create something altogether new. We've never done anything like this before, by the way, and it shows. So I can't talk about all of this without talking about the bodies and the honeycomb matrix and the golden frequency. And the honeycomb matrix, you know, if you've known me for a while, reality changes based on where you place your attention and the quality of your attention, and learn to use the operating system of reality. And that was all given to me when the 4-1 walked through my bedroom wall in January of 2021. And the golden frequency arrived last summer with the tagline, wait for it, what's the problem? I know. Again, I asked for pithy, and now they think it's funny to give me the pithiest, but I appreciate it. I like pithy. So the premise of the honeycomb matrix is that reality is malleable. It's something that we've heard from spiritual traditions and in New Age circles and from Tony Robbins and Joe Dispenza and from many, many people for many, many years. And I think it's hilarious that the 401 gave it to me because I'm highly allergic to anything New Age. And I know, sorry, it has its place. And to words like manifestation. But that's exactly what this is. And also, if it was as easy as think happy thoughts and good things will happen, we'd all be rich and gorgeous, because that's what we all want, right? Most of all. But there's two other needed ingredients. One, somatics, the body, the nervous system. Try directing your attention and holding the quality of your attention when you're having a panic attack. So first things first, taking care of the body. And with unconditional love, learning how to be with the sensations and emotions flowing through. In other words, invite in the goddess. Invite in the repressed and shadow-bound feminine, aka the body, aka the inner child, aka life herself, vitality and rapture and grief and joy. It's a whole process, and you've heard me talk about it a lot. Second, we also need the golden frequency. The golden frequency says, what's the problem? And when I first heard that, I was like, everything? That's part of the pithy thing, by the way. What's the problem? Everything? That's how it arrived. And they were like, no, really, look around this room in the early dawn light and tell us what's wrong. You are warm, safe, comfortable. When thoughts of war and suffering come, it's happening inside your mind, inside this room, in the bed. And if I'm honest, it's mostly coming to me through my fucking phone that's forever in front of my face. And please don't get me wrong. I'm not saying at all that the bad things don't exist. Suffering is real, 100%. But for most of us right now, in this moment, we're okay. And from that place, the place where nothing is wrong, if we can settle and resource the nervous system, if we can learn to listen to the intelligence of the body, we can use the honeycomb matrix to create something new. I know that so many of us have been on a healing journey for years. What is all of this work for? What's the somatic work for? The therapy, the meaning making, the breath work, the perspective taking, the shadow work, the sound bath ceremonies, the ice baths, the journaling, the meditation. What is all of that for, if not to help ourselves feel good? We've been told that it's wrong to feel good in this day and age, and believe me, I believed that for a long time. How can we be happy when suffering exists? And then I was told that doom is a mind virus, and it broke the spell. His Holiness the Dalai Lama himself says, the purpose of life is to be happy. What? In this economy? And it's, as always, a paradox. I won't look away from the suffering. Everything I do is to help reduce suffering, and I'm here for it as many lifetimes as it takes. What I've come to realize is that feeling good is an act of rebellion, and revolution like evolution, like the turning of a great wheel. I've come to realize that being alive and vital in our bodies and relationships and dreams and interior sacred landscapes is an act of revolution. Claiming resourcedness, claiming the golden frequency, the simple act of feeling good in the body when we have capacity is an act of revolution. And this revolution, my friends, if we do it right, will be danced. The golden frequency, by the way, feels like goodness, like simple goodness, like playing outside on a rainy day before the internet existed. You remember that? Like sun on my skin, like the feeling when everything is peaceful and I'm reading a book for pleasure, not for productivity or to learn something new. It's like that feeling of being around campfire with the best of friends. It's like lingering in bed, like the first stirrings of new love. I could go on. What's the golden frequency to you? Daniela Seif in that Marianne Woodman article says that if we remain buried in the darkness, thinking of ourselves as victims, then we develop a propensity to see Death Mother when she's not there. On occasion, somebody will say something with a clean and loving energy, but due to our wounds, shame, and victim identity, we perceive the comment as coming from the Death Mother. She goes on to say we can't look Death Mother in the eye. Why? Marianne says it's too dangerous. We may be overcome by our trauma. We could be turned to stone. We may end up with cancer. So we work with her reflection. We journal. We work in our dreams. We use a reflective shield because otherwise we are at grave risk. And that's how I feel, by the way, about looking directly at the unfolding horrors in the world. Yes, glance at them. Yes, work with them. Yes, dream with them. Journal your thoughts and fears and find the Death Mother in you. Find the Armageddon in you and give her back to herself. Give that back to the overculture. It was installed in us. It is not us. Give it back. Free yourself from her, but don't stare. She'll turn you to stone. All of this to say, stop doom scrolling. And again, do what you want and what feels best to your nervous system and to your inner self, not looking to me or any other external authority to tell you what to do. For me, I refuse to meet fight energy with fight energy. I refuse to fall into despair. I refuse to feed the machine of the overculture with my attention. My attention and your attention and all of the attention is alive. It is a living force and it feeds what we point it at. I'm not feeding the machine as best I can. And am I privileged as fuck, safe and warm in my little home? Yep. So that makes it all the more vital to me to do the most powerful thing, point my attention and awareness towards what I want to create. Buckminster Fuller said, to change something, build a new model that makes the existing model obsolete. And none of this is easy, by the way, and the really not so easy part of this all is that we can't be afraid to die. Because I'm not saying that if something arrived in front of me, I wouldn't hope to have the resources and capacity to stand in front of someone vulnerable and die for them. And by the way, the women, the middle-aged mothers and third life crones are on fucking fire right now. They're not backing down, and I'm not suggesting that we do. I'm just saying point your awareness and use the power of attention to create something new. Let's talk about a different archetype now, the Apocalyptic Mother, which Marion Woodman calls death in the service of life. Her words now, she is Kali, she is Baba Yaga, and she gobbles up the uninitiated. She devours those who live in terms of dualistic categories, such as black or white, good or evil, life or death. The word apocalypse means to reveal, to uncover that which has previously been hidden. Where Death Mother encases us in a mantle of lifelessness, Apocalyptic Mother shatters that stone. All change, all growth, presupposes the death of the old. The death instigated by Apocalyptic Mother is excruciating, but it instigates change. Apocalyptic Mother precipitates the death of values which are rooted in fear and power. Sound familiar? She creates space for life we have yet to live. She brings about what the Death Mother strives to prevent. The difference between Death Mother and Apocalyptic Mother is best depicted by the contrast between murder and sacrifice. Murder derives from the ego's need for power, control, safety, and domination. Sacrifice is rooted in the ego's surrender to the guidance of the self in order to transform the destructive, although perhaps comfortable energy patterns into the creative flow of life. Sacrifice demands the life-affirming yes, which requires all our courage and faith and love to utter. Say yes, my friends, to the apocalypse without and within. And quick note here, because it's also intrinsic in us, we're not killing the ego, okay? I conflate on purpose the ego, the inner child, the body, because they all just want to feel safe. Marion Woodman didn't say kill the ego. She said sacrifice is rooted in the ego's surrender to the self with a capital S, by the way. Okay, enough quoting Marion and Daniela, it's just so fucking good. What it points out for me, that we can't privilege feeling good all the time. I don't think that's why we're on the planet. I think we came here because grief is a portal and suffering is a doorway, and we already always are safe and home. We come here to learn or to play or to serve, but more than anything, we come here to feel the full range of the human experience. We've become so afraid of death, so afraid of being outside our 4-degree comfort zone. That's me. So afraid of suffering that we've locked ourselves in a little room and have decided to not feel at all. Numb, tired, wired, and the days go by. Because we refuse to feel the sensations of being alive, and we have been able to kill death for a little while. The Death Mother kills even death, makes everything stagnant and still, and if death is dead, there's no way for us to feel alive. And I get it. It's hard to come back to life. It's hard to thaw slowly, a little at a time. We need help. We need the other worlds, and we need each other. So connect with your guides and unseen teams and the dead on the other side. Call in the helpers, the angels and spirits of the celestial realm, those beings of land and place who understand love and that we're all one. Those beings who want to help, and ask them to show you it's okay to die. Apocalyptic Mother will burn everything away that can't survive the new paradigm. Once we're not afraid of death, then we can bear the rapture of being alive. But Robin, didn't you say that feeling good was the revolution, and now you're saying don't privilege feeling good all the time? Yes. For God's sake, once again, it's a paradox. Let's get used to it. It's the price of admission into being the new human. And bless the mind and wanting to understand it all. When in doubt, make art. When it all gets to be too much to feel, move your body how it wants to move. Sing, yell, hold yourself, and cry. Find wise, safe people to be around and talk and feel with them. It's us guys. We're the grown-ups in the room. Individuating into a loose collective weirdo rebellion alliance that can never unify under a .com or become an institute. I don't trust institutes, by the way, not since watching the OA. I'm talking directly to you, their experiencers. Keep a weather eye. We can't become a movement. That's antithetical to what this is, more on that later, but we're alone together, driven by love, and what do we have to lose? Let's walk our talk and create something new. This is our chance. And when it all gets to be too much, move your body how it wants to move. This revolution, if we do it right, will be danced. Until next time, thank you to Morgan Jenks for our musical soundscapes. Check out the link in the show notes to sign up for the Projector Project on May 27th, or to join the Patreon if you want to get in on our community gatherings where we talk about the body and the honeycomb matrix and the golden frequency. Or if you'd like to learn more about my work or book a one-on-one session with me, visit robinlassiter.com.